G'day and welcome to WA Witness. My name is Alan. Alright, so first yo, I am going to cover a few things. We're going to cover the Liquid Fuel Emergency Act of 1984, last known amended in 2021. First yo, I'm just going to lay this down. Emergency services have first access to the fuel. That includes the Defense Department, police, ambulances, and fire department, and SES-based services, or any services that render help and assistance in an emergency. Okay, they have first priority to our supplies of fuels. Things that do not have that access, I'm going to cover that in a minute. Next ones on that list that do have the access are going to be food services, water services, electric services, and home gas services, those kind of things, utilities and food services like making foods, breads, farming. They're the next priorities. After that, the building industry and so forth will be restricted. That includes road maintenance and anything that uses intense amounts of diesel and so forth that would cause or create rendering more problems. So if you're on an oil rig and you're digging up oil right now, you'll probably be on the safe zone on that one because you're digging up the oil to try and stop this sort of thing from happening. The building industry services will probably be limited with about 15 minutes traveling from their base of operations or home or houses. Okay, mechanics and other things like that are not on the list, or either you will find that clothing stores, apartment stores, they're on the list, but they're not priority on the list. So, you know, novelty things, cigarettes, alcohol are not on the list, but food and beverages, standard beverages are. So you just gotta look into that, right? Okay, so that's pretty much what the Act covers, and it even says that your fuels, you have to store your fuel the correct way. Yeah. Now this is a follow-up video technically on my last one, and people are saying, oh, they can't do all this stuff. Oh, they're not going to be able to do that stuff. Well, here it is, the Liquid Fuel Emergency Act of 1984. It is existence. It is here. They can do it. They can control where the fuel goes. They can direct fuel. Okay, in this act they can direct where the fuel can actually go. Now if they decide that there's a town in the middle of nowhere and they've got a large amount of supplies of stuff needed, and then there's the city, like we'll say Sydney, but this little town here has to get all that stuff to Sydney, they can redirect the fuel that's going to Sydney to that location, and then the people of Sydney will suffer with less fuel, which will probably, now you're probably wondering, yeah, okay, so the government could direct where the fuel goes. Then you still got the your basic oversights, watching the prices of your fuel, as in your consumer protections and so forth. They are the ones keeping an eye on the fuel prices. Now the two acts don't work interconnecting, but they can be interconnected. You find many of these emergency services, like building services, are limited to about 15 minutes of the distance of where they are, because people will also be suffering from fuel shortages. Ways to try and reduce this for Australia will be easy things. Now, if you've got a vehicle that has slow movement, slow takeoff, please remain in the left lane. If you are a truck and you decide to overtake another truck, it's only very slightly faster than you, swallow your pride, stay behind the other truck. Stop holding up the traffic, especially during peak hour. Try not to travel on peak hour for basic services or that, if you can. Therefore, limiting the conjunction on the road and preventing people from stopping and starting. If you do have to stop at a traffic light and you're there, notice a traffic light takes forever, place your car in neutral, okay? It doesn't save you much fuel, but it does take the pressure off your engine moving forward, and it does keep your engine will still run. It just makes sense, okay? Don't do that whole stop the car, start the car thing with the engine. Every time you start the car and stop the car, the ignition key is actually burning up more fuel. Funny enough, most people don't know that. An ignition of fuel is a giant leap of your fuel. It's not a lot, but it's still more than your normal turnover, okay? If you're going long distances, try to get long distances with less traffic lights ongoing. You find that the less you stop your car and start your car, the less fuel you're going to use. Also, try to prevent doing that to other people behind you. If you are in a conjunction area and you are traveling less than the speed limit, go into the left lane. And the major highways, stay left. Don't use them if you're not going to go the speed limit. And if you do have to go on them and you're not planning to go the speed limit and you just have to get across a waterway, then go across the waterway and get the hell off the damn highway. Don't hold people up. Don't make it worse. Right? Try not to cut people off, be assholes, wankers, or the following. If you see a traffic build up and there's a line of cars that are just not coming out, try to let one out, even though it's just one. And don't be the person behind that car trying to push out the next one. Just try a little common sense if you can. All right. Uber Eats and food delivery services, stop using them. Okay, they're just adding to the problem. If you want to get fast food or you're doing something, here's your work here, okay, and here's your home. You're coming home from work. You make stops on the way. Then you make it home. Your last stop could be the fast food. Try to keep it in a straight line. Then you've got your fast foods. Uber Eats not required, is it? Right? You managed to do it. Therefore, you've also reduced the amount of fuel being used instead of some other person doing it. Yeah. At the same time, you've added things to your journey. Okay. Try not to take frivolous drives to nowhere. Or just drive for the sake of driving. I know it's a pain in the ass. Many of us like doing it, even me. It sucks. Services, like I said, will probably be limited to 15 minutes. Okay, and it's not me supporting 15 minutes. It's just me saying that could happen. I'm going over some of the worst case scenarios here as well, but the trick here is to try not to make it worse. In the Act, it says proper fuel storage. I haven't quite looked into this, but someone else did, and they were stating that fuel must be stored the correct way, even in a private capacity, and that's you and me, private capacity. That part of that storage is they must be in fuel approved containers, such as jerry cans that have got the proper fuel leveling and so forth. I've noticed a couple of Bunnings stores recently got some fuel cans, and they're probably gone by now, but just try your best to get them. There's also a limitation on how much fuel we're allowed to store in our own homes, believe it or not. So if you do have more than what you require or have or any of that, just don't tell anyone. Keep as quiet as you can. That's pretty much it. Look, I'm going to leave a link to this Act underneath the video. There's a lot to unpack on this, believe it or not. I could probably unpack heaps more. But I've tried to give you the rundown of what they can do, what you can't do. What they can't do is regulate the fuel price. That is actually a consumer protection law that does that. The consumer protection law gets their ass off their thing and start consumer protecting us. That would be great. I mean, yesterday I saw the fuel price at a ridiculously, wow, it's pretty high. I'm not going to say because by the time this video is up, it's going to be a different price again. Tuesday cheap is not as cheap as it used to be. Back Tuesday cheap is like the dearest day of the week used to be. So yeah, that's over. Try using fuel buckets where you can, 4 cents and all that. If you've got them. Look, you're probably looking, I'm looking at a list here. I'm looking down the way here. It's very terrible. You're thinking, hey, shit, he's actually reading a list. He doesn't normally do that. Yeah, I'm actually doing that. That's how sad this is. All right. Just try to make best judgments you can as a vehicle motorist. Try to use your bike a bit more. If you have to pick your kids up from school, take an umbrella to protect you from the sun and walk them home if you can. All right. It might be a little longer, but at the end, you're helping reduce the problem. Try to reduce the problem, okay? Well, here in WA, I'm actually going to give high approvals to Roger Cook this time. That's pretty shocking, but he has got a series of electric buses and electric train system in play. Try use them, okay? They're not so much a drain on our society. and it will help. Try to use public transport if you can. Okay, I know that the best services, and I do call for the West Australian government to put more services on if you can to help combat this. Okay, an update to that would be a good call. But how often do the government make good calls these days? I don't know. Yeah, just try and make your best judgments, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Alan Simpson. This is WA Witness.